Hey guys, it's Law here with a Cosmic Wonder at the Walt Disney Animation Studio. And today we are celebrating Wish and 100 years of Disney animation. Today we're going to learn how to draw Star, do a little dubbing session for Valentino, and talk to the filmmakers behind this wonderful film.
Whoa, what are you doing? Valentino, don't eat that!
It didn't work. When does the magic happen? Oh! I'm talking! I am talking! Who knew my voice would be this low?
I had so much fun talking to the filmmakers behind Wish, but what did I actually think of the movie? For a quick review, I thought it was really good. Let's start with the music. It is catchy, it is grand in scale, and it's performed so beautifully. Chris Pine and Ariana DeBose and the supporting cast, all of them really brought it for this feature. Then you think about the big tracks like This Wish, This Is the Thanks I Get, I'm a Star, they all get stuck in your head in a way that Disney often does. Visually, I found it to be stunning. The art style really worked for me. It was a combination of this 2D hand-drawn watercolor animation mixed with more of the modern CG Disney animation that we're used to seeing in recent years. It almost gives the film almost like a cel-shaded look. It's very unique to this film, but at the same time it feels very, very familiar to what we know and love from Disney. What's a good movie without great characters? And Wish really does deliver on that front. Ariana DeBose does a great job as Asha. She's our protagonist. She has everything that you want from a Disney protagonist. You know, she's kind, she's hopeful, she's intelligent. She's also just really fun to watch. They gave her a really wonderful personality. And the same goes for the villain in this movie, Magnifico, played by Chris Pine. I thought he was so charming and also equally evil, which I think really works for the dynamic of this film. There's no love story in this. This isn't a character trying to find love. This is a character trying to help her town. And on top of that, all the supporting characters do their job fantastically. Even the ones that don't speak, like Star, you just love when they're on screen and what they add to the story. But a big shout out to Alan Tudyk as Valentino the Goat. Alan has been in so many projects, and it's really, really wonderful to hear his voice. He gets to speak as an animal this time, and Magnifico may have been my favorite character. But then Star is also really charming. I don't know. They're all great. They're all great.
I'm talking! I am talking! Ha! Who knew my voice would be this low?
I will say, though, that the plot is not particularly complex at all. I think from pretty early on, you have an idea of where this story is going to go, how the characters will resolve, and that's okay. I think it's good to have a manageable plot, something that's really easy to consume, so that kids and adults alike can follow along without getting too lost in the sauce. I think the real magic does lie within the references and homages that it makes to all of Disney animation. This is Disney Animation's centennial film. 100 years of animations are referenced here, and there's over 100 references in the movie alone. I mean, obviously, Asha's sidekicks are kind of like the Seven Dwarves, and you see a Peter Pan-like character, and I won't spoil anything for you, but there's a lot to catch, and I think that does add a lot of charm to the movie. I don't think it relies on nostalgia necessarily, but I do think it does honor Disney pretty well. With a combination of that Disney magic, hope, and those earworms from the music, I think it's a formula for a really strong and impactful Disney movie, and I hope that audiences like it because I know I did. But again, I'm a Disney fan, so you'll have to tell me what you think when the movie comes out. We were chatting a little bit, but congratulations on this film. It was so much fun. I teared up during it. The music is beautiful. But I want to talk about Rosas. I want to talk about kind of the city and the production design of it because it felt familiar to, you know, kingdoms that we've maybe seen in Disney before. But it also had a very unique feel to it. What was important in building out that world?
When it comes to, the world building of this movie, it came from story, so we knew that we needed a kingdom where people from all over could come because who wouldn't want to get their wish granted? Yeah. So it felt right to locate it in that Mediterranean area because during medieval times, which is such a fairy tale period, a lot of cultures existed in that space, and it's between continents. It's between North Africa and the south of Europe, and then it would give us that classic Disney flavor of those castles that you were talking about, but it would also bring a different flavor with the architecture that existed there.
Was there a character or an homage that you're most excited to kind of introduce in this film or pay homage to and honor in this film?
I can start.
Go ahead.
Mine is, I'm not going to tell people what it is, but I will say, please stay after the credits. There is a tag at the very end that is my favorite nod to Disney and its entire legacy.
Totally, yeah. Fawn, do you have anything?
And
that
for
comes to
me,
mind?
this one is not visually on screen, but we were so inspired by the journey that Walt took to make Snow White. You know, the perseverance he has to have to create the first animated feature-length film, while everyone giving him lots of doubts and saying it's impossible. And he pushed through to make that dream happen, and we put all of that into Asha's character. And that has been so special to us on this film.
Totally, and you know, it does such a good job at honoring all those animation years, but also combining kind of the tech or the way that the mediums work, right? So you have that watercolor element plus the CG element, and I'm wondering, you know, I think about Moana and how they had to develop the water technology to make that work, and I'm wondering, was there a new technology introduced in this film that helped you achieve the look that it does have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were building on a few of the shorts that we had done in the past, and that was Paperman and Feast and Far from the Tree. And they had started to explore this technique in different ways. And so we were building on that. We were excited. Of course, to honor our legacy, we knew we had to do something that not only had that beautiful watercolor look, the illustrative look, but also hand-drawn. So, in using that, and then the challenge was, okay, those were shorts. Now we do a feature, 90 minutes of that. So it was incredible. It was daunting, but our artists are just amazing, and they're always up for the challenge. And we are stunned. When we see it on the big screen, it is gorgeous. It is like, if you stop on every frame, it's a beautiful illustration.
And we're so proud of the fact that it's not just a flat painting, right? There's a sense that you can move through those paintings and be in it. And that's the reason we chose the aspect ratio of CinemaScope. It's the widest screen possible to give you that immersive experience.
Well, being here at this particular moment in time as filmmakers is a great privilege. And first and foremost, we wanted to tell an original story, original fairy tale with new characters and music and songs. That was the most important, but also give nods to the past and all the work that had been done to lead us to this point. So you'll find throughout the film references starting with the look of the film. Obviously, it's a watercolor look that's reminiscent of some of Walt's early films. And yet we brought sort of a CG element to it to give it dimension and a very fresh look.
When it came to conversations about the music in this film, about the lyrics and what it hopes to do for the story, what were those like when you were working with Julia?
Well, certainly working with Julia is a privilege. First of all, she's the youngest person to ever write all the songs for a Disney animated movie. But what's great about that is she has a real love and respect for all the Disney movies, but she has a contemporary bent to her songs. So again, it pays homage to the past from her passion and love and understanding of a Disney musical, but also her contemporary flair in the sound.
And what can you tell me about the outside of the lyrical songs, but about the scoring itself? Because that also was very beautiful. What can you add to that for us?
Well, Dave Metzger, you know, who you collaborated with on Frozen, and he collaborated with Chris Buck on Tarzan. So he's been around, but he's been working mostly on the song part of the music. In this movie, we had the joy and the privilege of having him score the whole movie. And I think he just knocked it out of the park, you know? He brought in the emotion of each character, created the themes for them. And my particular favorite is what he did with Magnifico when he's turning very villainous. I think it's such a standout piece, and I think it's very memorable.
I'm glad you brought up Magnifico. I mean, Chris Pine gave such an incredible performance. Ariana DeBose gave such an incredible performance, and I'm curious, as you know, animation does take a long time to get a movie out, like we were talking about, but when it comes to casting and you get names like this, does that alter the way that the characters are portrayed, or like the way that animators approach them once you get like you know, the big leads cast into these roles?
We'll use Magnifico as an example. We had a general idea of the script. We had a general idea of the character and the design. Then we start thinking who could best portray it. Magnifico is unique in that he has to be charming and charismatic, and you have to believe that it's someone who would actually you would actually give your wish to for safekeeping, and yet also has to have that ability to evolve into the villainous side. And Chris Pine had that perfect combination. And once we talked about Chris Pine, it became obvious that he was the only person in our minds who we could cast for that movie.
Was it the same kind of feeling for Asha as well? With
Absolutely.
Ariana? Yeah.
And you know what it is about Asha, that when we wanted to make this movie about wishing on stars, we wanted the character to be very relatable, because it is something, it's a theme that we can all relate. We have a true wish in our hearts. And so she is, in a way, a little bit of the girl next door, someone that we can all see ourselves reflected in. And Ariana just had that. Also, she's a superstar and she can sing her heart out, and but she brought a lot of her own personality to the character as well. You know, we record them while they're still writing, so then our writers were inspired by her voice and so on. So it was magical to work with her.
I want to talk about cute characters because, you know, Star, Valentino, Disney has a knack of making characters that are very lovable. I'm wondering, with those designs, because they hit so hard, Alan Tudyk does a great job with Valentino's voice. But what's like the key to making, you know, these Disney characters so lovable in these animated films?
I think it comes down to appeal. We always talk about appeal, and even when it comes to a villain, we talk about, are they appealing? And so, you know, with Star and Valentino, you know, Star had a different origin, and we went through a lot of different iterations to get to the simplicity of that wonderful, just charming little ball-shaped character. And it goes back to, again, going back to our legacy. Star is basically a bouncing ball, which is what we all learn in Animation 101, the very first lesson, to squash and stretch a ball. The other thing about Star is Star's mask shape is this great nod to Mickey Mouse. So we have that. And then if you want to talk about Valentino.
Yeah, Valentino, the pet goat, you know, talking animal. We have talked about Disney, Disney pantheon, talking animal has always been there, but how do we fit this character into the theme of the movie? So we love that the baby ghost loves to climb, so we thought, great, Valentino loves to climb. He's not very good at it, but he doesn't care, because it's a journey you take. That's what's important to him. It's not the peak. So when we land on that, we're like, we're all in on this little baby goat. Let's put pajamas on him, because Jennifer Lee, our CCO, also loved baby goats in pajamas. And she kept sending us the video, and we were like, okay, we hear you. We'll put the collar, we'll design a cute pajamas on him.
And then we bring in Alan Tudyk, who he did start with a younger, kind of cuter voice, and then started to play, and then came up with this more mature, very deep voice. We went, oh my gosh, that is so great. It's so unexpected. And then Alan just ran with it from there.
Totally. I love his deep voice.
Yes.
Well, we always want people to continue to have hope, continue to have dreams, pursue their dreams is an important theme in this movie. And I hope that Disney continues to evolve. Its storytelling continues to evolve, even the looks of the movie, because Walt did that from the very beginning. He always was looking for, how can we evolve? So hopefully over the next 100 years, the medium continues to evolve.
I'll have to say, as a Disney fan, a longtime Disney fan, it is very cool to get to see the formal office, the working offices of the Walt Disney. And it's very cool. You look around here and it's a lot of like original items, and the way that they put the books back are exactly the same as they were depicted in the archive. So this is a really special moment and taking it all in, and this is where the magic was made. Thank you guys for joining us on our tour today of the Walt Disney Animation Studios and celebrating Wish and 100 years of animation here at Disney. We'll catch you next time on The Cosmic Wonder.